students, a very happy morning to all. Today we are going to discuss about another new topic in your 6th class biology, that is about food preservation. What is that? Food preservation. And you heard the word food preservation many times. What is meant by food preservation and how we preserve the food? Why should we have to preserve the food? Everything we will discuss in today's video. Then see here children, whenever we heard the word preservation, you may think about the farmers. How farmers store the rice at their home after harvesting. Do you know? And how your mother store rice at your home? We may use different techniques. Different people, they may use different techniques in order to make the rice to be safe from the attack of pest and harmful germs. Okay. Do you have interest to take any spoiled food? No one don't show any interest to take spoiled food. Is it right? Okay. Then how we have to protect the food from spoilage? Everything we will discuss. But if we think about certain varieties of food like curries and some delicious food items, it may spoil within 1 day or 2 days. If we keep certain varieties of curries and delicious dishes for a couple of days, they may be spoiled very easily. If we talk about pickles, they won't be spoiled within 2 days or 3 days. They may be stored for a longer time, like years and years. How it should be achieved with pickles and why don't it should be achieved with curries? We will discuss everything in today's video. See here children, food contamination. In the preservation, first we have to know about what is contamination. Contamination means the process of growth of microorganism on the food. And we all know that food contains many nutrients in it. By consuming that nutrients, we people are getting energy and we are able to do many activities in our day-to-day life. Is it right? Yes. How like we people, whenever we see the food, we just attracted towards the delicious food items. Like us, many microorganisms and other animals also get attracted towards the food. Is it right? Yes, it is right. Like us, microorganisms also have a lot of interest to take food. Then how they take food? We also call microorganisms, they show saprophytic type of nutrition. Means they just sit on the food varieties and make solid food into liquid. Later they absorb. They make the food material to decay. They just spoil the food item. The hard food and solid food, whenever the microorganisms start their growth on the food item, then they just decay. By that decaying process, the food it just spoiled and it may give a bad foul smell. By seeing that smell, are you able to take such kind of food? No, it is not a good habit. And by seeing that bad smell, no one don't have interest to take food. Is it right? Yes. Sometimes we may see the color of the food also changes whenever the microorganism starts growing. We find bad smell, we find the color may change, and we also find that it may secrete some liquidy substances. And at the same time, within a few days, the structure of the food also changes by the attack of microorganisms on the food. The process of spoilage of food by the entry of microorganisms is called as food contamination. Contamination means nothing but spoilage of food. How the food is getting spoiled? By the help of microorganisms. Whenever microorganisms started taking the food, started growing on the surface of the food, then it leads to contamination. If we take such kind of contaminated food, then it leads to food poisoning. You people are well familiar with the word food poisoning. How the food poisoning occur? Here we may have a bacteria, a type of a harmful bacteria called as Salmonella typhi. Salmonella, and that bacteria, it has capacity to secrete poisonous chemicals onto the food. Whenever that chemicals enters into the food it get contaminated. Without knowing that, if we consume such kind of food, we may first get vomiting. Later, if we take more and more amounts of spoiled food into our body, it leads to health hazards, health issues like food poisoning. In some worst situation, it leads to death of the person also. That's why we should know about the information of food poisoning. Many microorganisms, they have more harmful effects on the food. If we take such kind of spoiled food, it leads to many health problems. If we find the color of the food is going to be changed, or it emits any foul smell or bad smell, then we should not consume such kind of food. Then we should be healthy. Okay. It leads to, if we take any spoiled food, then such kind of condition leads to food poisoning. Then move to the next one. What is that? Food preservation. Our main topic is food preservation. How we can do food preservation? One, see here children, food preservation is the technique to, see ma here, food preservation is the technique to prevent food spoilage. Why we are following food preservation? In order to prevent food from spoilage. Okay, food poisoning and microbial contamination in food. Okay, food preservation is the technique. It is a technique. Why we are using that technique? To prevent food spoilage, in order to stop the food spoilage, and also to stop food poisoning, and to stop the growth of microorganisms on the surface of the food. That is called as food preservation. And what are the materials we are calling as preservatives? See here, certain materials or chemicals and other natural substances. Chemicals and other natural substances were used for preservation of food. These substances are known as preservatives. The process of stopping spoilage of food is called as preservation. And the substances like chemicals and natural substances what we are using in the preparation of food, such kind of substances are called as preservatives. Okay, in order to stop the spoilage of food, in order to make the food to be stored for a long time, we are using certain chemicals, certain natural substances. That substances are called as preservatives. Certain chemicals like sodium benzoate we may use in order to store the food for a longer time. Many harmful chemicals also most of the people are adding to the food, such as cool drinks and certain packaged food. Most of the company people, they are adding a lot of chemicals to the food. If you consume such kind of food, it leads to many health hazards. Okay, that's why we should not consume the food which is packed, which is present in the packages, which like chips. You people may show interest to take homemade food items. Okay, as it is the time of corona, we people are not having any interest to take the food which is available in the outside. It is better to take the food which may prepare at your home. Okay, then move to the next one. What is that? What are the objectives of preservation of food? In order to preserve the food, we have to follow two methods. What are that? Prevent microbial contamination. The first thing, we have to stop the growth of microorganisms. First, we have to control the microorganisms present in the food and their growth. Later, we have to kill the pathogens. What is meant by pathogens? Pathogens are also a type of microorganisms which have capacity to cause diseases. The organisms which are able to cause diseases to the people are called as pathogen. In order to preserve the food, we have to follow two methods. What is that? We have to stop the contamination of microorganisms in the food. Later, we have to kill the pathogens present in the food. Okay. Then what are the methods of preservation? From ancient days onwards, many people, they were used many techniques in order to store the food. During ancient days, we use the people who lived at that time, they used many techniques. What are the techniques and methods we will discuss now? See here, cooling, freezing, fermentation and sun drying. These are the ancient methods our ancient people already used. Okay. Nowadays we have modern technology. Depending on that modern technology, we are using many advanced storage, means advanced preservation of food. Advanced techniques of food preservation we people are using. Is it right? Okay. Then what are the methods we generally using for the preservation of food? See here children, common salt. By adding common salt. If you find certain kinds of food items, your mother have interest to add more and more salt and edible oils. Like pickles. While your mother is preparing pickles, she may pour a lot of oil and she may use a lot of salt and certain varieties of powders like green chili powder, turmeric powder. They may use many ingredients as preservatives. By using certain preservatives in the food, they may stop the growth of microorganisms in the food such as pickles. While your mother and grandmother while they are preparing pickles, they may use a lot of oil, turmeric powder, chili powder and more amounts of salts in order to stop the growth of microorganisms. Okay, that is about common salt. What varieties of food we may prepare? Pickles. By the help of some fruits and by the help of some vegetables, we are able to prepare certain pickles. Ask your mother what kind of pickles we can able to prepare. And nowadays we people also preparing pickles with the non-veg varieties like such as prawns, mutton, chicken, fish. Pickles also we people are preparing. Is it right? But taking pickles on daily basis, it is not good for health. We have to take the pickles only in rare times. Okay. For monthly you may take only 3 times, not on daily basis. If we consume like that, it also causes some health problems because the pickles, they may contain more amounts of salt, more amount of chili powder, more amount of oil. Okay, that's why rarely we have to use certain varieties of food items. Then move to the next one. What is that? Here we are using, in common salt we are using in order to store amla, in order to store fish and raw mangoes, we are using common salt. Then sodium benzoate. Some people, in order to store certain varieties of food items, they are also using certain chemicals like sodium benzoate. Then move to the next one. What is that? Smoking. Smoking. You heard the word smoking. Okay. Smoking is injurious to health. Here I am not going to discuss about such kind of smoking. Here smoking is a process by which we are allowing the food item to be exposed to the smoke which is produced from firewood. By burning the wood, we people able to get some smoke into the atmosphere. By exposing certain varieties of food to the smoke, then the food may be preserved for a long time and it may give a nice delicious smell. Most of the people, they may use smoking process in order to store meat, chicken, fish and certain varieties of non-veg items by using a method called as smoking. Smoking. Okay, smoking is a method by which we are exposing the food to the smoke which is produced from wood by burning. Okay, is it clear children? What varieties of food we are preparing by using, we are preserving by using smoking method? Non-veg varieties like chicken, mutton and fishes. We may smoke such kind of varieties of food. Then go to the next one. What is that? Canning. Another advanced method is called as canning. Here we are able to preserve certain varieties of food by storing them in a container, airtight container. What kind of container? Airtight container. By packing certain varieties of food in airtight containers, they stop the entry of air into the container. Whenever the air is not entering into the food, then the growth of microorganisms should be controlled. Okay, because air, it may contain many pathogens and microorganisms. And microorganisms, they always attracted to the damp area. Damp area means the moisture containing area. If we control the moisture present in the food, and if we stop the entry of air into the container, then it leads to storing of food for a long time. Okay, that's why these methods we are using in order to preserve the food. Canning means storing food in a container which is having capability to stop the entry of air, airtight containers. Okay. Then move to the next one. What is that? By adding sugar. Sugar is also one of a preservative like salt. Okay, we are using here salt as preservative. Sugar as preservative. By using sugar in larger quantities to fruits and vegetables, we are capable to store the fruits and vegetables for a long time. In order to store the food materials, here we are not using the sugar directly. We are preparing sugar syrup and we are using that syrup on fruits and vegetables in order to store them for a long time. In the preparation of jams, jellies and certain varieties of fruities, tutti fruities, we are using more amounts of sugar syrup. Instead of sugar, most of the people, they also have interest to use honey. By adding honey in larger quantities to the fruits and vegetables, we also capable to preserve the food for a long time. It is also one of the important technique. Then move to the next one. What is that? Heat and cold methods. Okay, we are well familiar with this method. Whenever you get milk, your mother first what she'll do? She just heat the milk for a long time. Later, whenever the milk gets chilled, your mother make the bowl to be kept in refrigerator for a longer time. In order to store the milk for a long time, what she is doing? First she is heating, later she is cooling the milk under very low temperature in the refrigerator. Is it right? And that process is called as pasteurization. Pasteurized milk. Whenever you buy a milk packet, then you are able to read a word pasteurization, which is invented by a scientist called as Louis Pasteur. In that, in order to store the milk for a long time, in order to preserve the milk, what they are doing? They just heat the milk up to certain temperature and a specific optimum time. Later, they make the milk to be chilled in the refrigerator. Like that, we are able to store the milk for a longer time. And by using heating process, we are able to kill certain pathogens which may spoil the food. Okay, before going to take any kind of food, we people have interest to heat the food material. Before going to cook your food, what will you do? We just boil the rice in the water. Like that, in order to make curries, in the preparation of curries for everything, we just use flame in order to heat the food materials. Whenever we heat the food materials, then what will happen? The germs present in the food, they may die. Okay. If you have interest to store certain varieties of curries, what your mother is following, at night we may have, if in your home, if we have more amount of curry remained after eating, then what your mother do? She just kept in a clean bowl which is having a cap on it, lid on it. Later she stored in the refrigerator. about 2-3 days the curry won't get spoiled. That is because of cooling method. Okay. By that, using heating and cooling methods, cold methods, we are able to preserve the food for some days. Okay. Later, move to here we have to discuss another point. What is that? Some people, they have interest to prepare food in the morning time. Later, whenever the excess amount of food remained at home, they just heat again, like rice and some curries, they may do like that. Reheating already cooked food, if we reheat again, nutrients present in that food, they just eliminated, evaporated. That's why we should not heat the food items for a longer time, or reheating is also harmful. Okay. Means if we reheat any cooked variety of food, then all the nutrients present in that food, they just evaporated, and we are not going to consume any nutrients into our body. That's why stop reheating methods. And we should not wash the vegetables and certain varieties of dals for many and many times. While your mother is washing the rice, only 2 or 3 times is enough for washing of rice. But some people, they may wash, they may clean the rice for many and many times. By that process, nutrients present in that, they may eliminate it. Washing 2 or 3 times is enough. While you are washing vegetables, you may wash 3 times by using salt water. Okay. And here another important method what we have to discuss is vegetable carving. What is meant by vegetable carving? Preparation of food is an art. Is it right? Are you able to prepare any variety of dish at this age? No. Some people, they may prepare, they may help their mother, but by your own, are you able to prepare any variety of delicious dishes? No. Means some people, they have interest to prepare certain tasty food items in a nice manner. Means preparation of food is an art, and it is also essential for our life. Without cooking food, are you able to take all varieties of food in the raw form? It is impossible. That's why cooking is also an art. Okay. And what is meant by vegetable carving? The method of making different types of designs and decoration by using fruits and vegetables. The process of making different types of designs and decorations by using different fruits and vegetables is called as vegetable carving. Sometimes we may find in some movies and in some television channels, we find some people, some chefs, they may prepare different varieties of designs by using different varieties of fruits and vegetables, like they may appear like a bird, a snake, a rabbit, like that they may carve the food in order to attract the customers. And sometimes your mother also prepared, she carved the dish by decorating the plate. Whenever we see the food carving, we almost attracted to the delicious food item. If you have interest, you also start food carving. If you have interest, you may start vegetable carving before going to take your lunch. It may give attractive nature to your food plate. Is it right? Okay. I'll meet you with another new lesson in your 6th class biology. Thank you for watching.